Hey guys, Rob from the Off-Grid Tiny House. Just gonna do a little video here. Got an item from my dad that he found, which was something I could have used before I purchased that other tripod, but whatever. It's another tripod, so I'll probably put this guy at the trailer with my new one that I just purchased, and so those few will live over there, and then I'll use my broken one here at the house and go from there. So thanks, Dad, for that. What's going on? Well, trying to deal with the bad news. You guys should know what that is by now. Just doing our thing. I've not been contacted yet by the big hospital over the news yet, so we're just waiting. But I'm doing all what I can in the meantime. Hopefully it'll work. Got a wish package. I did not film me opening it because my dad wanted to see it right away, because he thought it was pretty cool, because he actually found it in the mail. So I'll show you what that is right now. I'll bring it over. Alright, so down you guys go. You guys see okay? So what this is, guys, I ordered this on Wish for fairly cheap. I think it was $20. And this is gonna go, this goes hand in hand with my soldering kit that I recently bought for, you know, I can adjust this thing and whatever. But this is for my soldering. It's basically, I think they call these Mr. Handies or something. I can manipulate and clamp wires down and free up. So this thing will clamp wires, and then it leaves me two hands to run the soldering gun and the solder. Pretty neat little setup. So it's got a adjustable holder here for putting your soldering iron in so it doesn't burn anything. It's got an adjustable magnifying glass, which I should loosen this one up so I don't break it, and then I can just manually adjust that in place, and that gives you a good area to kind of look at what you're doing very close, like professional wise. So if you're kind of looking down over it, doing your soldering and stuff like that. It also has a built-in light, so it came with a USB cord, which is nice. It has two LED lights here, guys, which is nice, and it runs off of 5-volt power. And there's also, there's also in the bottom of this thing, a compartment for batteries if you don't have access to USB power, but I will. And I'll just demo that. This little tray, I'm not quite sure what it's for exactly, but it's just a loose fit in there. Not a big deal. I can put a little piece of tape or something in there to, you know, lock that in, but not too worried about that. I'm not even quite sure what that's for. Maybe somebody can give me a clue, but what I'll do is I'm going to grab my new power pack here. I'm going to plug in the USB cord, turn the thing on, hit the power button, and make sure to turn it on there. So you guys can see quite bright LED lights for working, and then I can clamp my wires, hold the ends carefully, and then work away. Now it shut off because obviously the LEDs don't take a lot of load from this, so it senses that. If there's not a lot of load on this thing, it will shut your stuff off. But if you hold this for 3 seconds, the flashlight should come on. 1, 2, okay, missed the so if I leave the light on the guy back here, and then turn the thing back on, so you can see on off. That will leave it on, but like I said, I don't have to use this to power this thing. It's just for demonstration for the video purposes. But this thing is pretty cool. It's got all kinds of angles, and you can tighten them up and lock them in, and it's got a little vise here too, plastic vise. That's kind of neat. And yeah, pretty good setup, I thought. So I'm gonna shut that off. And Mr. Handy on Wish, I guess that's what it's called. So we'll just tighten this little screw up here, or not. That thing just kind of sits in there and slides and whatever. But anyway, yeah, I'll fix this, fasten that down more securely, and go from there. So, nice little find that will help me when soldering stuff at the tiny house for future, which is good. And now that I covered that in the video, guys, I want to talk about shortly the power pack here. To test this out, you guys know when I slept over at the tiny house, I had 2 of my USB powered fans running my fireplace overnight, 24 hours. And it only drained that power pack down to 50%. And that power pack was donated generously from Charles, from YouTube. And he, it's that power pack, the 2 that he sent are 30 amp hours. This one claims 68 amp hours. However, that's a fraud, because what I did last night, well, the last 2 nights, is I ran my one USB fan off of this power pack, and it only lasted 1.5 nights sleeping. So I sleep with a little USB fan blowing on me. Some people do, some people don't. Everybody's different. But that tells me this is a lie, and hopefully this thing has still enough juice to punch out and start a vehicle. I've yet to do that, so I won't know for sure if it does, right? But it's a decent power pack, but definitely not 68 amps. So, you know, still pretty impressed with this thing though, because it's got a lot of function, and the battery isn't that bad. I would say this thing is more of a 10 amp hour battery, not even close to 68, because the fact is, if you guys compare this, it ran one of my fans for 1.5 nights, and the battery was completely dead after that. And if you compare that to Charles's power pack that ran my heat in the tiny house for 1 night, running 2 fans, and it only drained that power pack down 50%, because I showed you guys on video, and was actually very nice and cozy in the tiny house on my sleepover. Really nice. I had a really nice time over there. Nice and quiet, cozy, warm, lots of layers on the bed, and it was 60 odd something Fahrenheit when I woke up, all throughout the tiny house, because I showed that in the video. If you guys missed that, in my playlists on the Off Grid Tiny House channel, you can check out my winter sleepover at the tiny house. I have a playlist just for that. It has my it has the 6-part series plus the live stream before I even the night of when I left there. So yeah. So just check that out, guys. But this is definitely like a 10 amp hour battery pack, which is kind of, you know, you got to be careful with Wish stuff from China, because, you know, they got huge claims on battery capacity, and it's mostly BS. It's normally like a quarter of what this is, and that's pretty much basically what this is. So hopefully this thing does jump cars. If not, I don't know what to say. So, but I can, if it doesn't, I can still use this as a power pack over at the tiny house for charging all kinds of different things. And then included with the kit was, here, I'll show you just quickly. Again, came with a ton of stuff, and including some of these connectors. However, I tried this, the smallest one here, and it does not fit in my tablet. Because my tablet, I gotta use 120 volts to charge. It's not USB port because it's an old tablet. So yeah, I would love to find a connector size that would fit my tablet, and also maybe possibly fit my baby computer, baby PC, that my friends nicknamed, and possibly run it off of this, which would be awesome, because you know, why wouldn't I try to do that, especially in an off-grid situation? That'd be the main kind of goal. Get as much stuff to run on alternative energy and the solar power system as possible, without, you know, forcing me to buy huge amounts of batteries at a huge expense and go from there, right? Also wanted to mention quickly, I did not film this because I had a stranger visit the tiny house that was interested in off the grid as well. He contacted me through basically like a, what would you call it? In the US they're called like Craigslist, right? So he was interested. He's building his own off-grid little tiny house, and he's not going my route because he showed me pictures on his cell phone, but he has the property. It's a 20-minute drive away, and he offered, like, I showed him all the, you know, the ceiling, the lighting and stuff, and the fans, all 12 volt off the solar, and he doesn't have a clue about any of that stuff. And I got his phone number, and we're gonna stay in contact, and possibly he offered, like, possibly to move, like, he's even has the ability to move my trailer. I guess his dad is a farmer and owns a ton of property, 160 some odd acres of bush and stuff like that. So if worse comes to worse, guys, I may, you know, in the future, I may have to consider his offer, depending on what he wants for rent a month, because I'm going to be living there. I'm going to be needing a vehicle to be there with me as well, so I can travel, because 20 minutes away in a vehicle is quite a bit more if you're walking. So, you know, it's something to think about, right? So we're gonna stay in contact, and I actually offered help because he doesn't have a clue on the solar end of things. And like I say, I'm pretty much a beginner, and I even told him about, hey, I got a buddy online, Stu, that knows way more than me, electrical engineer course and all that. And I go to him for my, my solar advice and stuff like that. But I told him about my little setup and how I'm running everything fairly cheaply. 400 watts of power, 2 dinky batteries, PWM controllers, not MPPTs, and it's been 2 years in, right guys, or so, or 1.5 with the solar now. I haven't had the solar very long, and this was its first winter with the solar. Oh, so it's not even been a year, so it's just coming up on a year actually. But I have not seen anything change that would drastically affect me in winter. The reason is my batteries are... Oh, that's another thing. I'll tell you, yeah, my batteries are so small, you guys know this, that they charge up immediately, basically. And I baby my batteries. I don't drain them down. They stay about 90-80% all the time, unless I'm there, or when I'm there. Well, I don't draw too many big loads. It's pretty. Everybody knows that. But anyway, the guy I met, Steve is his name. He told me he has batteries that are ginormous. Apparently they're like forklift batteries. And he will sell them to me through his friend for $100 a battery, which is very interesting. Though, to lift something like that into the tiny house without killing yourselves is problematic. And I'm guessing there are forklift battery types, so they will off gas and whatever. But if I can get the batteries fairly cheap, though they are, I believe they're slightly used. He's getting them from a natural gas company who uses them in their stations to maintain a light as a battery backup for workers in service. So that's it. So we'll see how that works. I'll give you updates in the future on that, and I'll have to look at these batteries and stuff before I even do that. But that's about it.